And the only other movie he's really like attached to is the B movie. And it's like
That's such a
he's
good point.
he's picking real winners here.
Hello and welcome to the Screened In podcast. Here on the Screened In podcast, we watch anything that's on our screens. That's movies, TV, anime, video games, Cocomelon. And we
You thought you could sneak that past me, Burger.
I know. And so the point is we watch anything that's on our screens. This week on the episode of the pod, we talk about stale cracker or yummy gooey breakfast treat. Jerry Seinfeld asks the question, what's the deal with capitalism? In his first attempt at making a commercial, the cast of Hollywood joins up to make every character feel like a cameo in this semi-accurate but not really telling of the original Pop-Tart. Joining me is the inventor of the sounds of Rice Krispies snap, crackle. It's John Artigler. Welcome to the John.
I didn't make snap crack pop or snap crack. What did you say? It wasn't snap crackle and pop. I'll tell you.
I wasn't. You made snap. Made snap and crack.
Yeah, they had some revisions. They added pop in there. I hate it. I haven't eaten the cereal since.
He was like, no, but it's really addictive.
They'll get it. Come on. You gotta keep a joke in there for the adults.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so we watched Unfrosted, which, man, this one was an interesting one right off the bat, because Pop-Tarts are kind of like an inside joke in me and Kelsey's relationship.
Oh.
Because I'm a generics man. I'll go to the store and buy generics of things, like not name brand. And the big joke was, like, I think it was like her and her dad, like, we were talking about Pop-Tarts, and they were like, you don't buy the generic Pop-Tarts. And I was like, oh, no. And so it's always been a big joke that I buy the knockoff Pop-Tart is a great name. It's called the Toastum Pop-Ups. So it's always the joke for us. So when we saw
the RC Cola of Pop-Tarts,
it really is. But there was so that was like right off the bat, we're like, oh, that's funny that they're making a Pop-Tarts movie. Like, how fun. And then I watched the trailer for this one. Shocking, I know. But I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this is like, as soon as this comes out, we're watching this movie. Yeah, this is going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, and now that I've watched the movie, I don't think I feel the same way quite. Did you, like, I know we went away from this for one episode, but I got to get my fix. Are you looking forward to this movie, Burger? Was this on your radar?
I didn't even know about it, to be honest, until I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, oh, like the same night it released, with just the night it happened to be right on my screen. So it literally watched it like the first night it came out. Because also I watched
tactic now.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I was like, oh man, this got everybody in it. So why wouldn't
we'll run through that?
Yeah, so why wouldn't I? I was really excited immediately as I saw it, and I was like, forget about it, we're watching this. Yeah. So I was excited initially. Initially.
Yeah, it kind of, this is a weird movie because you said it in the intro. It's a commercial, and not even just for Kellogg's and Post. Like, they mention all different types of things, but it's like, it's meant to be that way. It's not like they're hiding it, and it's a crappy movie with a bunch of product placement. Well, it is, but
yeah. Like, I'm going to steal something from another review, but
do it. Yeah.
IGN said in its review it's more clever than it is funny. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's true. Like you and I have seen Jim Gaffigan live.
Yeah.
And like the thing that was disappointing about this movie is like I had a little bit of fun with it watching it, but I can say for certain that I'm pretty sure I didn't laugh out loud at any point during the movie.
Yeah. I have IMDb open and there's like
I
clips
think maybe there
playing.
was a fart joke that I laughed at, which is a cheap laugh, but that
Yeah.
was like pretty much it.
I think the Quaker Oats guy got me the first time.
Oh, now he is such a funny comedian that just pops up everywhere, and he
Yeah.
is all over podcasts. What is that guy's name?
I'll look it
Um,
up. Hold on.
he had a TV show where is it Dan something? He had a TV show
Oh,
where
Andy Daly.
Andy Daly. He had a TV show that was like on Hulu or something somewhere. It was like a 20-minute show where like a, a viewer would send him a letter, like ask him a question, like, is it possible to do this? And then it was just him trying to attempt to do that and like
Oh,
research it. And it was very funny. Andy Daly is a
he's been around a
super
while.
funny comedian that's like not A-list and not everybody knows about him, but he's been around the ringer for a very long time.
I mean, that that's the mantra of this movie. I,
Yeah.
I the
You know
cast
what?
of this movie is insane.
Can I ask you, like, who are the people in this movie that made you laugh, and who are the people that didn't make you laugh? I want to try this on for size. Let's play a little game, John. Who made
Okay.
you laugh and who didn't?
Um. Okay. Well, the one that made me laugh is because uh, I'll say Bill Burr because
Yes, as JFK.
when they went to the president's like the White House and
Yes.
me and Kelsey were like, "Oh, who is going to be president?" Because at this
Yeah.
point we realized every single
Oh,
character is a
everyone.
known actor.
Mhm.
So like, who is going to be the president? This is going to be great.
If you told me that inside of one of the mascot outfits was Brad Pitt, I would have believed you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That could come out a year from now, that like a
Yeah.
TikTok as just
You know,
another marketing thing for it.
he was in that chicken costume. Nobody knew, but he came that day.
Yeah. Um I'm trying who didn't make me laugh. I mean, there was a lot of people that were on like the cusp. Like
Okay.
I don't know, like I'm trying to think. I'm looking at the cast right now. Like okay, here's one just cuz it's on the top line that I thought was a weird pull and made me be like, who is this movie for? The James Marsden Jack LaLanne. Now, we're in our 30s.
Mhm.
Growing up, there was always the Jack LaLanne juicer infomercials. So I know who Jack LaLanne is, but I don't know much about him. I knew him when he was 70 years old making a juicer. I'm like, man, they really lean into Jack LaLanne in this
Yeah,
movie.
I know. And to be honest with you, I like barely remembered that reference. Barely.
Yeah, I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah, who else? Who else you got?
I was like, what are some of yours? I'm looking up because I like,
Okay, so I know exactly. And I
oh,
said like
okay.
I didn't laugh much out loud at this movie,
Mhm.
but I know who made me delighted and who didn't. Now, Melissa McCarthy, you can give her a script and she's gonna
Yep.
make it into something. Like every time Melissa McCarthy was on screen,
I love her as a
she's
comedian. She's great.
she's great. I really enjoy watching her. Sometimes it's over the top and annoying. Like
Yeah.
that one movie she did with
She had a string of those of just like,
yeah. Melissa McCarthy was in the movie with Jason Bateman where she steals his identity, and I actually found the character she played to be incredibly annoying.
mhm.
Um, and there's a few of those, and she also was in a movie I think that or a series that her and her husband produced, where I think like the end of the world is coming or something, and it wasn't very funny. I watched like a couple episodes of it, wasn't that good, but
I feel like there was a
generally
time where people were like, she's the female Chris Farley. Let's get her in the goofiest things possible.
Well, certainly when she was on SNL, that was for sure the case. When it
Yeah.
comes to skits and improv, Melissa McCarthy's all about it. you give her the right character, she can be very funny in a
Yeah.
show or a movie. So Melissa McCarthy, definitely. I will say Bill Burr, very funny as JFK, just didn't expect it. I was very delighted to see Max Greenfield from New Girl.
Yep.
I haven't seen him in quite some time, so thought that was very funny. Who didn't make me laugh? Jerry Seinfeld and Amy Schumer. Neither of them really made me laugh. I kind of was confused by them.
I actually thought
Jack,
Amy Schumer did all right in this movie for her character.
okay,
Like,
I don't
I
know.
thought she played it well. I'm
Jack
usually not the biggest
McBrayer,
fan, but
Jack McBrayer, love Jack McBrayer. Um, the cameo that I'm
mm,
probably jumping ahead to, so let's just talk about it. John Hamm and John Slattery reprised their roles from what's the TV show called, John?
from why can't I remember? Mad no Mad Men? No,
Mad Men.
what
Yeah,
is it? Mad Men?
Mad Men.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Mad Men. Yeah, so John
I said
Hamm
it and
and
it
John
sounded
Slattery,
wrong, but
they are playing their actual characters from Mad Men
mhm.
and playing them to a T. And it didn't really matter what the script was. It was going to be funny because it was just like, oh, they just took those characters, brought them over to this movie and
Yeah,
said, yeah, fit them in because this timeline makes sense. That was genius.
that whole
And
scene was really good. Like I loved how like they were trying to make it like a sexy thing and like that was definitely one of the funnier scenes in this movie for sure. I've actually I forgot about that until I was looking at the cast though. That's the biggest problem with this movie. It's kind of out of my
yeah,
brain already.
yep.
Um, do you like we've been talking about some of the cast. Do you want me to do a rapid fire of the cast of
Yeah,
some of
do
the
a
cast?
rapid fire. Absolutely.
All right, I'm just have the Google thing open. I'm just gonna go through Jerry Seinfeld, Melissa McCarthy,
Hold
Amy
on, hold
Schumer,
on, hold
Sarah.
on,
Oh,
hold on, hold on. Let's do every other one. Me and you.
oh god. Okay, do you have the Google one
You
open?
start. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Here we
Jerry
go.
Seinfeld,
Melissa McCarthy,
Amy Schumer,
Sarah Cooper,
Hugh Grant,
Jim Gaffigan,
Christian Slater,
James Marsden,
Bill Burr.
Maria Bakalova,
I don't know who that is, but Max Greenfield,
Rachel Harris,
Andy Daly,
Kyle Dunnigan,
Felix Solis,
Thomas Lennon,
Jack McBrayer,
Dan Levy,
Peter Dinklage,
Dean Norris,
John Hamm,
Mikey Day,
John Slaterly or Slater.
Sarah Burns. Say our
Um,
favorite person, John.
I would say one of my favorite people, Bobby Moynihan,
Oh, yeah. Drew Tarver,
Sebastian Maniscalco,
Beck Bennett,
Cedric the Entertainer, which I haven't seen in years.
Fred Armisen.
Oh God, Aparna Nancherla.
Good job. That was well done.
I think I nailed it.
Cedric Yarbrough? Yarbrough?
I think you got it. Ellie Jane,
Tony Hale,
Daryl Hammond,
Kyle Mooney,
Patrick Warburton,
Ronnie Chang,
Nick Herms,
Jeff Lewis,
Nelson Franklin,
Adrian Martinez,
George Wallace.
and of course, we can't forget
Can't forget.
Phil Lawrence.
Now, I'll admit, some of these off of name, I would never know.
Yeah.
So if you just listen to us say those and you're like, oh, yeah, such a big cast. I got Felix Solis and Thomas Lennon. If you look up both those guys, you'll be like, oh, yeah, no, I know them. Like, okay.
Every single one of them. Every single one of them.
Yep.
Now, I will say, toward the end there, they named Jeff Lewis, who I don't think a lot of people know Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis, I know from The Guild. The Guild, which if anybody knows of this show, it's a show with Felicia Day that really made her into like kind of the nerd queen for much of the early 2000s, mid 2000s. The
Okay.
Guild was a show that was basically about a guild inside of World of Warcraft with all of these very nerdy people who were like just trying to exist in life, but also play the game every single day. And it was very, very funny. If you've never seen it and you're into MMOs or World of Warcraft, I highly recommend watching The Guild. And Jeff Lewis is in it, and he's very funny.
Interesting. They were ahead of their times. I feel like we've mentioned before with like solo leveling, that kind of thing is very popular right now.
This is a The Guild is a deep cut. Like only the truest of nerds will know will
The
know The
truest
Guild.
of nerds. Um, so now that we talk, like the one thing I want to talk on, and I feel like you would want to too,
Okay.
is Jerry Seinfeld. I mean, iconic name in comedy. That's why this cast is so stacked. I mean, he's one of the
Yes.
biggest household names ever. He has a show with it's just his name.
Yep.
But he's been getting a lot of like some heat, some support. It's mixed of kind of he's taken that stance now of like, you know, oh, you can't make good comedy anymore. Like everything's
Mm-hmm.
so changed and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then he makes this movie. Like I found it so funny. I'm like, oh yeah, you made this. Oh yeah, you can't make good comedies anymore. Let me make this raunchy Pop Tart movie. Like what? It's just so funny that like I get where like I feel like a lot of I'm sure I think Bill Burr has kind of said similar but in a more funny way of like things have changed, but it's like there's still a lot of funny stuff out there. And like I don't know, if you're going to make a big deal about all this, don't then make a Pop Tart movie that's like squeaky clean with a couple weird adult jokes if anything. I just thought that was
Yes.
so funny.
Yes. And yeah, it was absolutely. And the funny part is like something like recently after that, um, John Stewart's done two things like unintentionally. The first thing he did, and then the second thing he defended Jerry Seinfeld. But the first thing that he did unintentionally was he talked about like cancel culture and comedy, and
Mhm.
he said one of the best lines that I've ever heard, which was, "I've lost two words over the last 30 years of my comedy career that I can't use. What is it that you want to say that you can't say?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that's so true. Like, there's literally like not much. And the thing
Mhm.
that people that are complaining about cancel culture, they're still doing the jokes and saying the things.
Yeah.
And
It's like
nobody's getting canceled. The people who
no.
got canceled were the people who are legitimately committing crimes,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Like
I feel like
that, um, you know, the people that deserve to be canceled were the people who were sexually assaulting their coworkers on like behind the scenes of
looking at Dan
TV, you
Snyder.
know. Yeah. So like these are the people who are getting canceled, like they're getting canceled. The
Yeah.
other people of what you're seeing from other people is that when you say things, regardless, and if people don't agree with them, you're gonna get backlash. Like that's
Yeah.
how the internet works now
I
and
was gonna
has
say
always worked.
the internet has made it so easy for I mean, sometimes it's justified. Like somebody will say something like pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And as a whole, people are like, whoa, hey, like Jesus, like what are you doing? And
Yeah.
you'll get some consequence. But it does make it very easy for small groups of people to make their voices very loud. And
Yes.
for you know you get blowback, and there might be something that gets made that people think is really funny and people like it,
Yeah.
but there's a few articles being like, oh, people are slamming Jerry Seinfeld for this, and it's like, well, like not really.
Yeah.
Like sure, like he's getting some tweets or whatever that have some traction, but it's like
Right.
most people still go for all these movies.
Right.
And like I don't
And
know,
to
like I
me,
think
it's
it's
like
kind of a dumb take.
they're the people who are canceled in the cancel culture that happened. I almost like separate that because what we're experiencing right now is more of reactionary culture, where it's like you say something like you're the Chiefs kicker, and you say something at a speech in which it seemed to go over well in that particular setting. Nobody seemed
Exactly.
upset at what he said, and then that gets on the internet, and people are like, "Ooh, I don't like that," including myself. I didn't like what he said, but what it is reactionary culture of people post that and there's like, oh, how ridiculous is this? And then other people will say, it's not ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you're mad about what he said. And then you get a cyclical thing that happens where tweets and tweets and tweets and pile up on top of each other. And then like news shows get it. And
Yep.
basically we're just kind of repeatedly over and over again outraging in this reactionary culture, and it just goes
Yep.
higher and higher and higher, so that the most people are experiencing it to the point where I'm having a I'm talking to my father-in-law about it, and I'm like, I could not care less about this Chiefs kicker.
Yep.
So
That it is very reactionary. There's like people just want to get mad about anything. They just want to put their opinion out there about anything. And it's like whatever. Like you can make whatever movie at this point. Like Ricky Stenicki. Like
oh
we
yeah,
said that's like like an early 2000s comedy and that did fine.
right.
Like
The fact that Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a show that's still on TV
yeah,
is like
that's a
astounding.
testament of that.
And that's a testament to the fact that you can do ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you can have a basically naked balding man be birthed from a couch, and you're fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, but
I just
so,
think
yeah, but I feel what you're saying. Like this feels like a very vanilla movie.
yeah,
uh,
to have that take and be like, "Oh, you can't make good comedy anymore," and then make the most vanilla, you
and
know,
like basically commercial.
yeah, commercial weird movie. And I just love it's like Jerry Seinfeld is, I mean, most known for obviously Seinfeld, a comedy icon, but like outside of that, it's like he never really was in other TV shows or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only other movie he's really like attached to is the B movie. And it's like
That's such a
he's
good point.
he's picking real winners here.
Yeah, that's true.
Was he
You're
a
right.
producer or anything on the B movie, or is he just like a voice actor?
Very good
Oh,
question.
I think he wrote part of the screenplay. It says
Okay.
so. It's like he had his hands in that. He wasn't just like paid to voice act in it. And
I think too, like you could still do Seinfeld like in this current climate. Like you could
yeah,
absolutely do it. There's nothing inside of Seinfeld that was cancelable. Nobody's looking back at Seinfeld and being like, "Oh, did you remember this episode when they said this?" No, because they were like legitimately good, well-written episodes about things that like people actually think about, right? To this day, I think about like the pool shrinkage episode.
oh yeah.
And
I mean,
like they're so good, but all of those episodes could be run today and there would be no problem with them. So what are you trying? What do you want to say, Jerry, that you can't say because you were saying all those stuff back then and you could still
yeah,
say all of those things now? They would still apply.
exactly. Like I think it's just you're more easily accessible for criticism now.
Absolutely.
Is
That's what
the
it
best
is.
way to
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah. That's
Is
the best way to put it for sure.
I
Yep.
mean, when his stuff was coming out, I mean, he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
When was Seinfeld? Like 30, 40 years ago at this point, which is insane. But
Wow.
like, um,
He's 74. He doesn't look 74.
no, he's 70.
Oh, okay.
When did Seinfeld come out?
Yeah,
Seinfeld
he looks good
was,
for 70. You know, the other thing that a lot
oh
of
my
people
gosh,
like that
yeah.
he does is driving in cars with coffee.
Yes. That's another but that's like
People like that.
that's just like interviews though, which is
That's an
great. Like I've watched a bunch of that. I haven't watched it in a while, but Um, yeah, the first episode of Seinfeld was in 1989. That's insane.
wow.
So it's
A year
like,
after I was born.
yeah, it's like year before I was born. But like,
Yeah.
it's crazy how like then it just gets me kind of thinking like it is wild that he got so famous off that show and then just like kind of wrote it out. Like I feel like
Yeah.
nowadays actors, it's like they get big off something and now they're just in everything
Oh,
ever.
I
Like
know.
I mean, how many times we have to make fun of it, like Chris Pratt and stuff being in
Oh my gosh,
everything.
you know I was exactly gonna say that
Um,
because I saw the commercial for the Garfield movie, and I was
oh,
like, "Do
we'll
we
be doing
really?"
that, Burger. Don't you
Uh,
worry, we're doing that.
oh, I was like, "Do we really need Chris Pratt as Garfield? Like, what's happening?" I felt like it was
Timothy
probably.
Chalamet is in everything now.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of like a comedian who's gotten big that's now in like everything. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's it is we've said it. It's harder to make comedies that are just comedies nowadays. Not
Yeah,
for any particular reason, just because I feel like the market just got so saturated for a
mhm,
while with all like the weird comedies, and then
yep,
there's just some that are just swings and misses.
yeah.
So but like this one, I mean, to get back to this movie, oh man, what okay. What do you think this movie is rated? Have you looked it up at all?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's very like any rating is very like it's put together of people who hated this movie and
Mhm.
people who loved this movie. Like when I look at it and I look it up, I see like all of these zero or like 1 star reviews, and then I see all of these reviews that are like 100. It was great. I loved
Yeah,
it.
on
Like
IMDb, there's 1.8 thousand 10 out of 10s and 2,000 1 out of 10s.
yeah, yeah.
And
So it's
there's but
very split.
the most is 6 and 7s.
Okay.
So I think
I think
I
that's
would
fair.
definitely go. Yeah, like this was definitely a movie like I put on. I think there was one point where I was like on my phone at a point, and I think
Me
Kelsey was
too.
like, "You hate this movie," and I was like, "No, like I don't. Like it's just like I don't know. It just wasn't as good right off the bat as I thought it was gonna be." And like, is it bad though? Would you say this is a bad movie?
I think people want to say it's a bad movie because when you get all of these people in the same room, you should have comedy gold.
I think actually, Barry, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It you this should have been a knockout. Like you're gonna
The
have
amount of
all
people who
like,
have been on SNL in this, the people
yep,
who have been on the Daily Show, the people are coming from like comedy religion is
yeah,
in this movie. This should be amazing.
yeah. I mean, the fact that you have, and then like stand up, like great stand up comedians or just well known. I mean, you might not like her, but Amy Schumer. Then you got Jim Gaffigan, my favorite stand up comedian. People
Absolutely.
love Sebastian Maniscalco. Like,
Yeah.
like the fact that you have all of these people and it like turns into, eh, it's good. Like it is wild.
Is It's wild. It's
That
really,
does
really
tilt the
wild.
scale a little bit of like
Yeah,
kind of it makes it a bad movie in the sense of like it should have been so much more.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's hard to what's
It's
another
actually
movie like this that's had
think
that many actors?
think about replace everyone in this movie with C-list comedians who are like good and
Mhm.
kind of in stuff. And what is the reaction then to this movie? Is it like, oh, you know what? You know what's pretty good? You should check out this Unfrosted movie. They did this
Yeah.
weird thing about the Pop Tarts. That's a very different message, I think, and it's all about yeah, it's all about delivery and because I think that the message would be different from a lot of people because you don't expect it to be funny. Then you're like, oh, I don't know, let's check out this
Yeah.
Unfrosted movie, and then maybe you're like, oh, actually, the character's really funny.
And I
Um,
could see it go a non-comedic route. Like I love movies like this that are like biopic kind of I don't know what you would really call it, like based on real events.
oh,
You know,
yeah,
sometimes they're very serious about like war or like World War One, World War Two kind of a things. Then there's the one, I forget the name of it right now, The Founder, about like McDonald's,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
they're like
that was good.
they're historical stories.
Yeah.
So it's like I could see this, have been more. So like when this was coming out and it was like they're doing that, but as a comedy, I
Mhm.
had such high hopes, and I'm a little bummed. But like, I wouldn't sit here and tell somebody, "Oh, you can't think of what to watch." No, don't even bother. Like, don't
Nah,
even
I
don't
would
even
say,
put it on. I wouldn't say that. Like,
nah,
if
I
you're if
wouldn't.
you're looking for a movie and you're like, should we watch this? Yeah, put it on, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because I could see some people, like, if you really love Melissa McCarthy, or if you're a huge Jerry Seinfeld fan,
Yeah.
this might be right up your alley. So
I
I
also
don't know.
think
I
that I've noticed that there could be a separation in this movie by generations. I think some of the older generations really are delighted by this movie, and some of the younger generations are confused by this movie.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't really, or if like a lot of those people who we mentioned who were on SNL aren't like, it's not like Jason Sudeikis where they were on SNL and became A-listers.
Right.
They're, if you follow comedy, you know them.
True.
So for people like that too, who are just like, oh, actually, I'll say for the people who didn't make me laugh, it was Snap, Crackle, and Pop. I really didn't like their
That's a shame.
characters. Like they were fine, but I
Yeah.
was like, I'd take it. Like they could, whatever. Like I get
Yeah.
it, but like, so I don't know. It was fine. It just was kind of a letdown.
Also, the um Hugh Grant's character was so weird. It was such a strange choice for that particular
Yeah.
role. And but I heard that Hugh Grant's one of those actors where he's just like, so he was asked somewhere like, "Oh, you must absolutely love acting," and he's like, "Eh." He's like,
That's
"Eh,"
funny. I mean,
and
he's been
like
around
so
so long.
he's like, I'm just doing it for a paycheck now." Like, and
Wow.
you got some more people that are superstars in different areas that are willing to say that now, which is kind of funny. That it's just like Hugh Grant's huge, but he's just like,
Yeah.
meh. I'm just still doing.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it for a paycheck.
Yeah. Hey, it's fine. That's funny. Uh,
Uh,
I'll say
good stuff.
any final kind of thoughts on this movie? Anything else you want to
No,
talk
I
about
felt
with
I
it?
felt like we went in. I felt like we went in, but I feel like we gave I think we gave fair criticism because like it's not like I don't like Jerry Seinfeld. I think Jerry Seinfeld's very funny. I've listened
Yeah.
to his stand up. I've
Well, I had, like I said, that's why I had higher hopes for this. I like Jerry. Like I love.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think everybody deserves fair criticism when they develop something that doesn't hit right. You should, people have a right to speak their mind about that. And everyone in this, they're amazing people. Um, and we love them and other stuff. So, uh, yeah, Unfrosted is like a check it out kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
you might like it, you might not,
Watch it
but
for yourself.
you should probably watch it for yourself just to see if you do, I guess. And
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be like immensely disappointed. Like I didn't feel like it ruined my night, but I also
No.
was like, yeah, that should have been funnier.
Like I said, it's
So
not bad. It's not a bad movie. It's just not great.
yeah, and I really agreed with the IGN review of Clever Not Funny. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's been another episode of the Screened In podcast. We have yet to play Dave the Diver.
Playing it. We just haven't
We are,
done the episode
yes,
yet.
excuse me. We're digesting it. We are
Yeah.
playing it, and we're gonna spit something out soon for on our microphones after we fully digest it.
Yeah. Say
So
I'm probably up to, I don't know, hours, probably like 8 to 10 hours. I don't know, something like that.
that's great. Yeah. So definitely give that a game a play. It's like $20
Hmm.
on Nintendo Switch. Pick it up if you listen to us and you want to hear that episode. You want to give us our thoughts and want to talk to us about it. You can do so at the Discord, and that's a great place to join. We love our Discord channel, and you can email us at screenedinpod@gmail.com. Check us out on the socials, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for listening to another episode of Screen Dead Podcast. Adios, everybody.
See you later, everyone.